You know how sometimes God is telling you, like, I probably shouldn't eat this, but you're like, I have a little bit. And then your stomach hurt, or then your head hurt, or then you're tired. Like that tiny act of disobedience costs you something. And so we have to be, sometimes I think when I teach about radical obedience, you guys are thinking big. Like, do the hard thing, have the conversation, make the tough decision, speak up, have confidence, all of that. But it's in the small things. It's in the tiny things. Like, God told me to do that before I left the house and I didn't do it. And look at me now, right? It's in the tiny things too. Obedience is a 365-degree thing. It's not just on the big things. Optimal health is not a privilege, it's a right. However, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of health challenges today can be attributed to lifestyle. This includes our physical activity, the quality of our relationships, stress, purpose and fulfillment, and of course, our diet. But what if there was an alternative? What if we could prevent and combat these health challenges with lifestyle changes before pills and procedures? You are listening to the Plant Protocol podcast with yours truly, plant-based health and business coach, and now the forever voice in your head, Lisa A. Smith. It's time to come get this health. The most expensive thing you'll ever pay for is disobedience. Today, I have a story to tell. Now, I teach and preach about disobedience, and I teach and preach about the importance of radical obedience on a regular basis. But I am human like all of you guys, and I was recently disobedient, so much so that it cost me a high price. And I want to tell you the story about what that was today so that you guys can learn from my disobedience. Radical obedience is what we define here as doing what God is calling you to do despite the presence of fear and uncertainty. But just recently, and when I say just recently, I'm talking last weekend, I was disobedient. And that disobedience cost me a lot. And I'm going to tell you the story today about that disobedience. I'm going to give you the lessons that I learned from that disobedience, but then I'm also going to give you some bonus tips at the end that just might help you guys. So what I'm about to tell y'all happened last weekend, and it was so impactful for me personally that I changed up my entire speech that I was doing at the retreat that I was speaking at last week. So last week, I was booked to speak at a retreat in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. And traveling to Tennessee, that's where this story took place. It was such a dynamic trip, as you guys will hear, that I decided to change up what I talked about in Tennessee. So the story that I'm about to tell you guys is the same story that I told the audience at the Fearless Women Retreat last weekend in Knoxville, Tennessee. And that my talk or my message on that stage was about obedience. And I taught about radical obedience. And I kind of used this story as the segue into that lesson. So you guys will be the second group to hear this story. So let's get into it. So guys, last weekend I was flying to Tennessee. Okay, buckle up. Last weekend I was flying to Tennessee to speak at this retreat. And so I was flying out on Thursday, and my flight was scheduled to leave at 5 a.m. Now, I personally cannot stand early morning flights like 5 a.m. I hate them, right? Because I don't get to go through my regular morning routine, drink my warm lemon water, do my meditation, do my affirmative writing, do my workout. Like I could if I did it at 1 or 2 in the morning, but I don't want to compromise my sleep either. So typically when I book travel, I never book like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. flights. My favorite flight time is like a 12 or 1 p.m. That's chef's kiss for me. However, for this particular event that I had to be in town for, the event started that day on Thursday. And so the organizer wanted us there by early afternoon. Now, I was flying out of Houston, Texas, and there were no direct flights from Houston to Knoxville. So that meant that I had to have a layover, and the layover was in Atlanta. So in order to make time for all of that, a layover flight, plus be able to get there by early afternoon in time to speak that evening. I was scheduled to speak Thursday evening. I was flying in Thursday morning. Okay. So you guys get the timeline, right? And so in order to do that and have enough time, not to mention, the airport, TSY airport or TYS, whatever the airport code is an hour away from where the cabins were. So when I landed in Tennessee, I also had to drive about an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes. So I needed time for all of this. I needed time for a layover and I needed time to drive, right? So that's why I went ahead and was been responsible, and decided to do a 5 a.m. flight. Now, I was meant to get into town, into Tennessee by like 11:30 a.m. Plenty of time to get the rental, to make the hour and a half drive to the location, get refreshed at my hotel, and then head over to the cabins where the retreats were, where I was scheduled to speak that evening, right? Okay, let's get into what really happened. So, did I mention I was flying out of Houston? Now, if you guys can recall, last week, all the TSA challenges were at the height of the height, right? And Houston was one of the, if not the number one airport impacted by TSA staff shortages. So that meant that I needed to get to the airport hours early in order to make my 5 a.m. flight. Okay. So the news, I had seen several news stories that was showing the line at IAH. That's the airport code for Bush Intercontinental Airport out of Houston. So I had seen all the news stories about IAH. I had seen social media posts with other travelers who were like in line and was like, yo, the line is off the hook. You need to be at the airport 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours early to make your flight if you're flying out of Houston, out of IAH. There's 2 airports in Houston, but IAH was like off the hook. So I saw the news, I saw the social media posts, right? Now, again, my flight leaves at 5 a.m., 5:23 a.m. to be exact. The night before, Wednesday night, I'm like, I hear everybody saying be at the airport a ridiculous amount of time early, but I get there about 1 something. I get there about 4 hours early. I'll get there about 1 something was my plan, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to get maybe 4 hours of sleep. I'll wake up at 12:30, just after midnight. I'll wake up at 12:30 a.m., do what I need to do last minute, shower, get dressed, and head to the airport about 1 a.m. And that should be enough time to make my 5 a.m. flight, because also at that time, you could log on to the airport website and they were telling you, allegedly, in real time, the TSA wait times, right? Now, it's important to know that, which I learned, that for a 5 a.m. flight, like airport security, the TSA line is not open 24 hours. Like they don't have a lot of flights flying out in the middle of the night. So if you have an early morning flight, the TSA line actually doesn't open, the security doesn't open until 3 a.m. Okay. I didn't even know that. Okay. So TSA doesn't open till like 3 a.m. Okay. So my plan goes as planned. I wake up at 12:30. Okay. I get dressed, everything. I end up leaving out a little later than I wanted to. So I didn't get to the airport. I didn't leave out till maybe about 2:30. I didn't leave out the house at 2:30 in the morning. I leave out at 2:30 in the morning. I get to the airport at like 2:50 something. I park because I drive to the airport. I don't get an Uber or anything like that. I like to park at the airport so I can hop in my car and be out when I fly back, right? So I get to the airport about 3. I park. I go into the airport. And it is exactly what everybody had been reporting. It is off the hook. I'm talking about off the hook. The line is wrapped around the airport. If I really wanted to be facetious here, the line is wrapped around the city of Houston, okay? So I get to the airport and everything that I had saw on the news, everything that I had saw on social media was absolutely true for the IAH airport in Houston, honey. It was wrapped. So this is how wrapped it was. To walk to the end of the line, like about 10 minutes, because the line was wrapped through multiple terminals, okay? When I tell you, people, adults, seniors, children just sitting on the floor with their luggage. Some people laid out sleep with I said, Oh my goodness. Now, mind you, it's 3 o'clock. My flight leaves at 5:23 a.m. and it is packed. Okay. So I get there, I'm walking to the end of the line and I'm looking at the faces of people as I pass them, and all you see is dread. All I see is dread, sorrow. It was terrible, right? And so I walk to the end of the line and I get in line. Now, again, I had already planned to get there about 1. I was a little later than I wanted to be. And also, I'm looking at all of these people, but still, something inside of me, I don't know what it was, but something inside of me was like, you will be fine. You're going to still make your 5:23 a.m. flight. I know it's 3. I know that's only 2 hours away. Now you guys know, of course, that the time the flight leave is not the same time that the gate closes, right? So my flight was at 5:23 a.m., but they started boarding at like 4 something, and the gate closed at like 4:45, 4:50, something like that. Like, so the time the flight leaves, you still got to be there earlier than that. But I was like, something in my shanana, something in my spirit was like, you will make this flight. I was flying Delta. You will make this flight. Like, I know everybody say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, Houston off the hook. You don't walk 10 minutes to get to the end of this line. You see people laid out sleeping on the floor. Like, you will be fine, right? But by the time I walked to the end of the line, and that took 10 to 12 minutes, and I'm walking through terminals and parts of the airport that I've never seen before. I fly out of Houston all the time. I've never even seen this parts of the airport. That's how wrapped it is. I mean, yellow caution tape up. They got security agents just standing around directing people to get to the end of the line. They had cases of water sitting on the side so waiters could just so that the people that was waiting, we could grab a bottle of water while we in line. Like, we were camping out. We were camping out, right? So imagine I'm walking past all of this and I'm just like, man, Lisa, what were you thinking? Like, what type of covering did you think you had that you could ignore the news, ignore the social media, ignore everybody, and just get here regular 2 hours before your flight? Like, what were you thinking, right? So I finally reach the end of the line. So I got these 2 parts of my brain. One part is like, what were you thinking? Why didn't you follow everything you have been seeing? Why weren't you here hours ago? And then the other part of me is like, but I just kind of feel like I'm going to make it though. I don't know why. I just kind of feel like I'm going to make it. And here's another little tidbit as we go through this story. I typically have TSA pre-check and clear and all the things, global entry, everything you could possibly have to have some type of shortcut at the airport. I invest in all of it. And so I have TSA pre-check, I have clear, but those lines aren't open because there's such a shortage for TSA agents. And so the only line that was open was the main security line. So everybody is going through the same route, right? They don't care if you got TSA pre-check, everybody going through the same line. So even knowing that TSA pre-check was not going to help me today, I still was like, I just feel like God got me in this one. Like, I'm going to make my 5:23 a.m. flight. I'm going to make my layover flight in Atlanta that leaves out of Atlanta at 10 a.m. And I'm going to get to Knoxville at 11:30 a.m., right? Get in line. And something else was like, the other voice won, the one that had saw the line, had saw the news. It was like, girl, just be extra cautious here. Just be extra safe. Go on the Delta app. And Delta has same day change where you can change your flight the same day. And same day change, I look and there's another flight that's flying to Atlanta. Instead of leaving at 5:23 a.m., it's flying out of Houston at 9:50 a.m. So that buys me 4 more hours just in case I don't make it to the front of this line on time. And there was no same day change fee. So there was no fee to change my flight. Nothing. It didn't cost extra, nothing. It was just like change your flight and you save, right? And I was like, you know what? I should probably change my flight because I done got to the end of this line. It's not moving at all. It's not moving at all. So let me change my flight just to be on the safe side. Everybody's saying it's going to be 4 hours or more standing in this TSA line. Let me change my flight. So I change my flight while I'm standing in line to get to the gate, right? So I go on Delta. And so now instead of flying out at 5:23 a.m., I'm flying out at 9:50 a.m., right? I'm like, whew, I can breathe easy. Now I ain't got to sit here worrying. I ain't got to sit here looking all impatient. I can just stand here, listen to my podcast, talk on the phone, whatever I want to do. And it's 3 a.m. I know for a fact I'll make the 10 a.m. flight. Like I know for a fact I'll make the 9:50 flight. So now I can breathe easy. Now I had expected to wait, y'all. So I had food. I had my strawberries, my mango, my grapes. Did I have a chickpea tuna? I had something else that was more hearty too. Oh no, I had my pasta. I had my some curry noodles that I had made. So I had all my plant-based vegan food. I had water. Like I was planning on camping, right? Okay, so I changed my flight. So now I'm breathing easy. I'm like, okay, I can sit here for as long as I need to. It's no problem, right? Sure enough, a couple minutes after I get in line, I've changed my flight and the line starts moving. Now, when I first got in line, it wasn't moving at all, right? But then I got in line and it started moving, okay? And so now we're moving. I'm like, okay, right? And so we moving. And it'll stop a little bit and then we'll start moving again. And sure enough, within 2 hours, y'all, by like 5 a.m., a little bit after 5, I'm at the front of the line, about to go through security, about to finally go through the metal detectors and put my bag on the conveyor belt and all this stuff. I'm like, dang. So now it's like 5:13. By the time I get through security, it's like 5:30. So I give the guy my ID, show my boarding pass. Of course, there's no TSA pre-check. So I just go with everybody and I get through. I'm going through security and it's like 5:13. And I just happened to look. I'm like, let me check what gate I'm at because I've changed my flight now. So I'm like, dang, I changed my flight. I don't leave to 9:50. I now have to wait 4 hours because I'm through security and it's 5:13. But I was like, let me check the gate to see when my new flight leaves out, right? What gate it leaves from. And the new flight was leaving out the same gate from the same gate as the old flight, gate A15. So I was like, oh, I'm going to the same gate. And anyway, I was like, I wonder, even though I've changed my flight, I wonder if I can still make the old flight. I was like, I changed it trying to be safe, trying to be cautious. But here it is, it's a little after 5. I just wonder if they will still let me on the 5:23 a.m. flight. Now, I'm going through security. Everything is going mostly smooth. I had 2 bags, but the bag that had my food in it, my noodles in it, it got pulled to the side, right? Because they thought it was a liquid. So my bag got pulled to the side. So that took some time, right? So I'm sitting there like, come on, because I can probably convince the gate agents to let me on this 5:23 a.m. flight. And so they pulled my bag aside and the lady got to go through all my food. I'm like, yes, ma'am, that's my whole food, plant-based vegan curry noodles, okay, with my tofu. Let me through. So she's like, oh, it's food. I'm like, yes, ma'am. And so she finally let me through, right? So now it's like 5:20, y'all. And I'm like right around the corner. As a matter of fact, as soon as she finally clears my bag, the announcement comes over in the airport and was like, last call, doors are closing for Delta flight 1041 to Atlanta, leaving in 5:20. I'm like, man, I'm about to skedaddle over to this gate and see if they let your homegirl on. I just might make it, right? I get to the gate. Soon as I turn a corner, I see the gate agent looking down the aisle to see if anybody's running. I wasn't running, but I was walking real fast. I get to the gate. It's a black auntie behind the desk. It's a guy in front of me. He talking to her. She doing something for him. And then it's me. Black auntie was like, without even looking up, y'all. I love black aunties. Without even looking up from the keyboard, she felt me walk up. She said, I ain't changing no more flights. Don't ask. I said, dang, auntie. Right? She said, don't ask. I'm not changing any more flights. Right? Black auntie wasn't about that life, right? I turned into a straight up little whiny girl. I was like, but even if this was my original flight, I just changed it because of the TSA line. And I thought I wasn't going to make it. She like, I ain't changing no more flight. Black auntie was off the hook, right? I love black aunties. She like, I ain't doing it. Don't ask. And I was like, please, I barely made it. I didn't think I was going to make it. Without even looking up, black auntie was like, That's why we be telling y'all, don't change your flight before you get to the gate. Actually miss your flight first and then change your flight because you never know. That's why we be telling, I'm like, why is she taking all her frustration out on me? Right? Black auntie was mad. And so the other gate agent come walking up, the one who was just looking down the aisle, right? And Black auntie, I guess she felt some empathy for me. Black auntie was like, do her too, right? So the other gate agent came over to the other computer. Boom, 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 boom. Let me see your boom, 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 boom. Let me see your boarding pass. Boom, 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 boom. Got me on the 5:23 a.m. flight, right? Got me on the 5:23 a.m. flight. I'm in there bankhead like blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings. I'm like, yes, because when I changed the 9:50 to the 9:50 flight, that meant I wasn't going to get to Knoxville until like 3 p.m. or something, right? Now I'm back on track with getting there at 11 a.m. because remember I told y'all I need to get there. I got to make an hour drive to the retreat. And I got to freshen up and I got to get ready to speak that night, right? So I'm hype. I'm like Black auntie for the win. So right when I'm boarding, right? So they got me on the 5:23 a.m. flight. She like, come on. I was the last one. She like, come on. She like, oh, by the way, don't forget to change your flight when you get to Atlanta. And I was like, oh yeah. She was like, remember, you got a layover. When you changed your flight to the 9:50, that puts you on a later flight flying out of Atlanta. So now when you get to Atlanta, you need to change your flight to get to back to your earlier. Because originally I was going to fly out of Atlanta to Tennessee at 10 a.m. Now that I was supposed to get to Atlanta later, I was going to be flying out at like 1 p.m. So she was like, when you land in Atlanta, make sure you change your flight back. I said, bet. So I get on a plane. I'm hyped. Listen, it was, I guess, several other people missed the flight. So I had a whole row to myself. Like, I'm chilling, like, yeah, buddy, 5:23 a.m. You know, I changed my flight just to be cautious, but it all worked out. Look at God. Who's your favorite, God? Right? That was me. Boom. Okay. So I said, no sweat. Now all I have to do when I land in Atlanta, it's going to be 8:30 a.m. I'm going to go to the Delta counter. I'm going to ask them to put me back on the 10 a.m. flight flying from Atlanta to Knoxville. Boom. I get to Atlanta. The flight go real smooth. I get to Atlanta. I get off the flight. I go to the counter and I'm like, hey, here's what happened. Okay. I was originally supposed to fly out on the 10 a.m. flight from Atlanta to Knoxville, but I didn't think I would get here in time. I didn't think I would make my 5 a.m. flight flying out of Houston. So I switched my flight on my phone. I was wondering if you can put me back on the 10 a.m. flight from Atlanta to Tennessee and everything so we can be crispy. Just go and do that for me real quick. It was another Black auntie. I'm like, go and do that for me real quick. Sure appreciate it. Yeah, you see my status. I be on Delta all the time. Hey, man, go and switch your girl up. She said, absolutely not. She said, that flight is completely full. I said, man, I just changed it a couple hours ago. She said, it's completely full. I said, okay. She said, but I can't put you on standby for the 10 a.m. flight. I said, okay. She said, I can put you on standby for the 10 a.m. flight. Maybe you can make it. And if you can't get on, the next one is at 1. So she's like, I'll put you on the 1 o'clock out of Atlanta. I said, all right, right. So I done flew out of Houston at 5 a.m., but now I can't fly out of Atlanta, right? So I'm like, I'm on standby for the 10 a.m. Now, me and God like this, because like he just proved I'm his favorite, right? So I'm like, I'm going to make the standby at 10 a.m. But in case I don't, she got me on a standby at the 1 o'clock. Now, just so you know, when I changed my flight back in Houston, it was now I was meant to fly out of Atlanta at 3 p.m., right? And so I'm like, I can't sit here to no 3 p.m. So I hope I can make the 10 a.m. flight. And if I can't make the 10 a.m. flight, I hope I can make the 1 p.m. flight. And if not, I'm already booked on the 3 p.m. So I go to the gate for the 10:15 a.m. flight, right? I'm sitting there. I see my name on the board. I'm like number 1 on the board for standby. I'm the first in line. I'm like, this going to work out for you, girl, right? Because Atlanta was also backed up with TSA issues. So a lot of people weren't making their flight. So I'm like, God's favorite going to make that 10 a.m. She made the 5 a.m. She going to make the 10 a.m., right? Sure enough, don't make the 10 a.m., right? But even the announcer at the gate, like if you here on standby, you not getting on this flight, don't even try. Don't come up to the counter. It's a no. I said, dang. As a matter of fact, they was taking volunteers to be rebooked on a later flight. That's how full the flight was. I said, dang. Okay, y'all. So I don't make the 10 a.m. flight out of Atlanta. I said, no problem. I'm a chill. I'm about to go to the American Express lounge. I'm a chill here because Atlanta got this real nice Amex lounge that I like. I said, I'm going to go to the Amex lounge. I'm going to relax for a while, chill out. I'll make the 1 o'clock flight. Now, mind you, I landed in Atlanta at 8:30. Okay. So I got a lot of time to spare. I didn't make the 10 a.m. Now I got to wait for the 1 p.m. I'm on standby for the 1 p.m. and I'm booked on the 3 p.m. I get to the Amex lounge. It's a wait. So I'm like, okay, cool. They like, with Amex Lounge in Atlanta, you got to put your name on a wait list through your phone. So I put my name on a wait list. They send you a text message when it's time to get into the lounge when your time comes up. All right. I'm like, boom, I'm just going to be here till 1 o'clock. I'm going to chill in a little lounge, eat some free food, maybe do a little work, sip some high quality tea. It's going to be good. Right. So I get on the wait list for the Amex Lounge. Okay. And they send you a text message when it's time for you to come into the Amex Lounge, right? So I'm waiting on the text message. And it seemed like it's a long time, not like longer than usual. I'm like, I don't think the wait is this long, right? And the lady come out. Now I'm waiting about an hour outside of the lounge. And I'm like, what's going on? Because I want to use clean bathrooms. I want to eat free food. I want to sip my tea. I want to do all the things, right? And I'm like, what's going on? And the lady come out and she's like, if you guys have not been receiving the text message, if you have a newer iPhone, you need to check your spam messages. I was like, who knew that there was a spam box for text messages on iPhone? I go to the spam box after she showed us how to find it, and there it is. My Amex text message had came in like 30 minutes ago. Now, if you don't get up and go into the lounge within a certain amount of time after they send you the text message, it expires. So mine had came so long ago that it expired. I didn't even know messages could go to spam. Text messages go to spam. I said, Jesus. So I'm like, I'm still about to try and get in with this expired text message because it had only expired like a few minutes prior. So I was like, I'm still going to try and get in the lounge with this expired text messages because I got hours before 1 o'clock. So I go up to get into the lounge. I get to the counter and the lady is like, let me see your text message, your QR code that we sent you. I was like, it's right here. It just expired, but can I? She was like, yeah, that's cool. Come on. I'm like, bet. She like, let me see your Amex card and let me see your ID. I said, okay, cool. Open my wallet. Don't have no ID. I'm like, what the devil? I'm looking all over my backpack. I'm like, where the heck is my ID? Where's my driver's license? Right? Never got my driver's license back from TSA. That's the last time I pulled it out because that's the only way I could get through security back in Houston. Don't have my driver's license. I said, where's my driver's license? I said, ma'am, I don't have my driver's license. She's like, let me just see your Amex card. Boom, boom, boom. She still let me into the lounge. But now I'm like, where the F is my driver's license? So I get inside the lounge. I'm like, it's got to be still at TSA, right? So now I'm on my phone, how to call TSA lost and found, how to file a claim. So I figure it all out on, you got to fill out a form online to file a claim. I call the TSA lost and found office. I know they probably won't have it that quick, but let me at least like figure out what's going on. So she like, yeah, you got to fill out the form online. Then we'll call you if you find your stuff. We closed on the weekend. So it's going to be a couple days before you get it. I said, no, Jesus. But I was like, you know what? It's all good because I remember researching before I read something that you can still travel without a picture ID. Like maybe if you have a credit card or something, I remember reading, because I'm not worried about getting to Tennessee. I'm worried about getting home when I'm supposed to fly back on Sunday. I'm like, how am I fly back without no license, without no ID? And so I'm like, Lord. So I don't have a driver's license, but they still let me into the Amex lounge. So why spend the time there that I thought I was going to be relaxing, filing a claim for a missing ID with TSA, trying to figure out if I could fly home on Sunday without a license, right? So I file a claim, got that done. Now me, I'm a very like no stress person, meaning like I don't panic, I don't complain, I don't just be like, oh, woe is me. I'm more of a solve the problem and keep it moving type of person. So I file a claim. I'm like, I'm gonna be good long as I can get to my speaking gig, because what I really don't want to do is compromise the event that I'm booked for. Like this ain't personal travel, this is business travel. And I want to make sure I'm able to be there in Tennessee and speak and everything like I'm booked for. So that's what I was initially worried about. And I'm like, it's all good. So long as I can get to my gig, I worry about getting home later, right? Because I like to do what I say I'm gonna do and really, show up and operate with excellence. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna get to Tennessee. I'm already past security here in Atlanta. I ain't gotta worry about getting on this flight. And then I'll be in Tennessee. It's all good. So don't have a driver's license. I chill in the lounge. I'm planning for the 1 p.m. flight. It's getting close to 1 p.m. Now, mind you, I'm on standby for this flight. So I get out of the lounge as we get close to boarding time. I go walk over to the gate all the way in a whole nother terminal. The Amex lounge in Atlanta is in Terminal E. The 1 p.m. Atlanta flight, I think, was flying out of Terminal B. So I had to go all the way back to Terminal B. I get to the gate. I see my name on the standby list on the board or whatever. I'm like number 2 or something like that. I'm like, I'll be good. I'll make the flight. It's all good, right? I'm like, it's no problem. I'm going to make this flight. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. Now, what I see, I'm like, you know how the digital panel behind the counter at the gate usually says the city and the flight, and it said a different city. I'm like, but on the app, it's showing that this is the gate for the 1 p.m. flight out of Atlanta to Tennessee. But I'm like, why does the digital panel behind the gate agent say a different city and a different flight? I'm like, what's going on, right? I'm like, well, maybe it's about to change. I'm like, but it should be boarding time right now. Why doesn't it say TSY or whatever airport I was flying into in Tennessee? I'm like, why doesn't it say the right city? So I go up to the gate agent and I'm like, I'm flying to Knoxville, and then this says on the Delta app that this is the gate, but we don't see the city. And by this time, like 2 or 3 other people who were also flying to Tennessee was like, yeah, this is supposed to be the gate for our flight. And so the gate agent is befuddled. He don't know what's going on. He's like, He's like, okay, let me make a call. Let me see what's going on. Cause I got several people here. So he called, he's like, I got several people here in front of me who are saying they're flying to Tennessee, but this gate is currently, designated for whatever other flight it was. And so he hang up the phone. The plane for that flight was having mechanical problems and it's been rescheduled to 5 p.m. I said, I know you lying. I know you lying. So they make an announcement. Anybody who's here at this gate for the Tennessee flight, your flight has been rescheduled for 4 hours later at 1 p.m. Have a good day. So I'm like, heavens. So now I'm on the schedule for the 3 p.m. flight, right? So I'm already scheduled for 3 p.m., but the whole point was to get there early enough to make the hour drive and to get to the gig in time so I could speak. Child, I am like, what in the devil is So I'm scheduled for the 3 p.m. So I didn't make the 10 a.m. flight. Didn't make that, okay? Because I took myself off of that flight when I didn't think I was going to leave Houston on time. And I didn't make standby on the 10 a.m. flight. I didn't make standby on a 1 p.m. flight because the plane was having mechanical issues and it was rescheduled to 5 p.m. Now I'm scheduled for the 3 p.m. flight, right? I go back to the Amex lounge. I'm like, let me back in. I need some OT. I need some OT and some of that chickpea curry y'all had, okay? Because now I'm calculating the time. I'm going to fly out of Atlanta at 3. I'm not going to get to, it was like an hour less flight. I'm not about to get to Tennessee until 4. I still got to make an hour drive to the retreat. And I'm looking at the itinerary for the retreat. I'm scheduled to speak this. Even I wasn't scheduled to speak until like 8 p.m. But y'all know how stuff can be, right? Listen to me, okay? I'm like, it's cool. Your girl don't speak to 8:30 p.m. tonight. I'm doing an evening session. I'm going to get to town at 4. I'm going to make the drive. I'm going to shower up. I'm going to get to it's all good. God's favors. I'm still not stressed out, y'all. Like, stuff just be happening. I just be going with the flow. I guess that's my meditation that just be on me. And so I'm like, it's all good. It's all good. So 3 p.m., I go back to the Amex lounge, chill a little bit, leave out again. Now, mind you, I done did about 10,000 steps through the ATL airport, going from one terminal to the next back and forth, right? It's all good. God is good. Blessed, blessed, blessed. It's finally time for the 3 p.m. flight. I get to the gate for the 3 p.m. flight. All goes well, okay? I get on the flight. I land in Tennessee. Finally! Let me ask you something. How much is stress costing you? Is it costing you your energy, your focus, your health, your peace? See, most of us have been told to manage chronic stress, but here's the truth. Managing chronic stress isn't enough. You deserve to eliminate it at the root. That's why we created the Clarity Lab, where stress meets strategy. The Clarity Lab is a 5-day immersive stress focus group. It's an experience that's designed to help you uncover your biggest stress triggers, reframe how you respond to pressure, and build a personalized strategy for sustainable health and performance. In just 5 days, you will walk away better understanding what's at the root of your stress, what limiting beliefs have been keeping you stuck, and more important, how to start moving with confidence, control, and clarity. And the best part, you won't do it alone. You'll be guided by myself and my team of coaches alongside a powerful community on the journey to do the exact same thing. So, if you're ready to stop paying the price of stress and start living with clarity, join us inside of our next Clarity Lab. Spots are limited, but you can secure yours right now at lisaangelsmith.com/Clarity Lab. That's lisaangelsmith.com/Clarity Lab. Clarity Lab is where stress meets strategy. I'll see you in the lab. So I land in Tennessee. I'm like, oh gosh, I was supposed to be here at 11 a.m. this morning. It's 4 p.m., but it's all good. We made it safely. I'm like, thank you, God, for safe travel. No incidents on the planes. I'm so blessed. Thank you, God. Land. Now, I rent cars through Avis, okay? With Avis, I'm Avis Preferred, and I'm the highest status, which is President's Club, all right? So when you are Avis Preferred and President's Club, what they usually do is, first of all, when you land, you don't have to go to the Avis counter, to finish your paperwork and all that stuff. There are signs that tells you if you're Avis Preferred, go straight into the garage. You don't have to go to the counter. So that's why I was like, I'm going to pick up my car and it's going to be no problem, because typically they have a board in the garage for all the Avis Preferred people who have reservations. You see your name, you see the space number for your car, and you go straight to your car. So I'm President's Club with Avis. I'm Avis Preferred. And so I'm like, I'm going to look at the screen. I'm going to see my name. I'm going to go to the space for my car, and I'm about to make this hour drive, and it's about to be all good. So I'm walking through, the Knoxville airport. And of course, the sign says, if you're Avis Preferred, go straight to the garage. Now, I done been at this airport before, so I know, I kind of know it a little bit. I spoke at this same retreat just a couple last year. And so this is not my first time here. And so I go to the garage. Now, at this particular airport, though, instead of having a sign up with your name and the space number for your car, you got to go to the Avis Preferred counter that's in the garage. So I go to the Avis Preferred counter. Reservation for Lisa A. Smith. Let me get that whip so I can get up out of here. Okay, I've been up since 12:30 last night. I'm ready to sit down. Okay. She like, let me see your ID. I said, here's what happened, ma'am. I flew out of Houston. Do you know about Houston? Do you know all the stuff that's going on with TSA? Yeah, you probably do. I know this is a smaller airport here, but how could you not hear about it? Well, here's what happened. It was real busy, real busy. I got to the airport about 2 a.m. for a 5 a.m. flight, and everything was moving so fast, so fast. And so I got to the security and I gave them my ID, and they didn't give it back to me. I'm sure it was a mistake. So here's the thing. I don't have a driver's license on me, but I done rented from y'all before. I'm President's Club. President's Club, matter of fact, you can address me as Madam President. And if you wouldn't mind, because all my information is filed. You got my address on file. You got my driver's license on file. You got my Amex on file. I done rented from y'all before. So here's what I need you to do. Just run me the keys. Listen, it's all good. This is not my first time here. I got reps with y'all. I got points with y'all. Like, I've been coming to y'all for years. Matter of fact, you might want to thank me for my loyalty. Okay. And if you could just give me the car, because I got a gig to speak at, but I need to shower first. Your girl need to eat something. I ran through all my snacks, ma'am, because I've been traveling for so long. I done ate my grapes, my mango, my strawberries, my curry noodles. I done ate it all. So if you can just run me the car, look at my face. You probably see it in the computer because I got an account with y'all. Did I mention I was President's Club? Call me Madam President. She was like, no, ma'am. I'm not giving you these keys without a driver's license. I said, ma'am, you're not listening. Okay. I've been here before. Okay. Call me Madam President. Okay. She's like, I cannot give you the keys. She looking at the reservation. She looking at the keys. It's almost like she was taunting me. She's like, I can't give you the keys without an ID. I said, what's my options? I got an hour drive. I got a gig. Like, I'm not going around the corner. You know how mountainous and spacious y'all state is. Like, this ain't no short trip. This ain't Atlanta. Like, I got to drive to get to the mountains so I can speak. I'm like, ma'am, I'm a speaker. Do you know radical obedience? Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later, right? She like, absolutely not. I'm not giving you these keys without a driver's license. I said, okay. I walk out of the line. She said, you could either Uber or call a cab. I said, for an hour drive? And I'm vegan, ma'am. I need to find my own food. I'm like, okay. I walk out the line, and then God put it in my spirit. I got a picture of my driver's license on my phone. I said, boom. That's all I need. I get back in the Avis line. I go back to the counter. Same young lady. I'm like, I got a picture of my driver's license right here on my phone. Look, look, it's me. She like, now mind you, she's not the decision maker. So she has to ask the decision maker, which is this like curly head dude walking around. And she's like, can she use a picture of her driver's license? He was like, absolutely. Right? Well, she was like, no, matter of fact, that's not what happened. I asked her if I could use a picture of my driver's license. She said, absolutely. And then I was like, okay, here it go. But she was like, let me double check with him. She asked him and he said, no. She said, I got to have something physical. I was like, so I can go get it printed out? She was like, yeah. I was like, say less. It was a Hilton right there attached to the airport. I saw it when I was walking through the airport. I said, there's a Hilton right here. I'm going to walk over to the Hilton Hotel, to their business center. I'm going to print out my driver's license on paper. And then she going to give me the keys to this car. So I do just that. I walk over to the Hilton. I walk up to the counter. I'm like, bruh, where's your little office center section situation? I need to print something. He looked over at his coworker and was like, is that printer still broke? I said, not today, Jesus. Not today, Jesus. And she was like, I don't know. He was like, well, if it's working, you can walk right here around the corner and the computer's right there. You can try and print. I said, okay, all right. Thanks be to God, the printer was working. Okay. So I print out my driver's license. I'm like, thank you. And I walk back over to Avis Preferred into the garage. I said, ma'am, here's a picture of my driver's license on paper. Okay. On paper. She said, actually, I asked him just to confirm. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take a printout of your driver's license. I said, I will flip this whole garage over. I have a divine message that God has sent me to tell these people at this retreat, and you're trying to stop it. This is when you turn desperate. You hear me? I said, I will flip this whole garage over. Okay. She said, I cannot take a printout of your driver's license. I said, okay. Okay. She said, you don't have nothing else? Like nothing else? I said, no. So I was like, let me pull out my wallet and just look as if something is going to magically appear. And guess what? It did. Y'all, I opened my wallet and I'm like, I don't got nothing in it else in here. And then guess what I found? Not my driver's license. I still ain't got that. My doggone global entry card. I forgot that I had a global entry card. So in my wallet, I pull out my global entry card because it has your picture on it, like kind of like a driver's license. And I was like, can you take this? She like, yep, we sure can. So I give her my global entry card. She give me the keys to the car. I hop in the car. I drive to the retreat, y'all. And there's a lot more that happened, but we're going to end the story here, right? I made it safely to the retreat. And I was able to speak and do all the things, okay? This was the craziest whirlwind of events that I have ever experienced. Here's the takeaway for you, and here's what I need you to know. Everything that kicked off this extraordinary series of events last weekend started with disobedience. What did I tell you in the beginning of this story? I told you that when I got in line at Houston Airport, something told me I was going to make the flight. However, I was looking around and I decided to be cautious. I decided to have a plan B. And so when I stood in line at Houston Airport, I decided to change my flight, even though something inside of me was like, but God got you. You can make the 5 a.m. flight. And I did make the 5 a.m. flight, but changing my original flight changed my layover flight. And that knocked down the domino that knocked down everything else. Here's the first takeaway for you guys. In life, oftentimes, our disobedience comes from letting our reality become our reality. What does that mean? That means that I had looked at the line on social media. I had heard about the busyness of the airport on the news. And then when I got there in person, I saw the line in real time. It took me 10 minutes to walk to the end of it. And instead of trusting the voice inside of me that said, Belize, you still good, I decided to be safe. I decided to have a plan B. I decided to make a plan in my own strength. And instead of listening to the voice that said, God got you, just get in line, I got in line and I changed my flight. And when I changed my flight, that changed everything else. And God decided to teach me a lesson. If you are going to let your reality be your reality, meaning you are going to let what you see with your eyes open dictate all the decisions you make, then God is going to let you have it. You must not need me. You got it. Right? I let my reality become my reality. I let a long line become my reality. I let the news story become my reality. I let travelers on social media become my reality. I let what I saw with my eyes open inform my decisions, as opposed to ignoring what I saw with my eyes open and listening to the divine voice inside of me. And that disobedience caused a whirlwind, an extraordinary series of events. Now, for a lot of you, this is your truth. You don't make decisions, you don't take actions because of everything you see with your eyes open. Lisa is doing this thing. She has this new course about chronic stress, and I know this is what I need. I've been attracted to her for years. I want to work with her. I want her to be my coach. But when I look with my eyes open, I let my bank account number today decide what I can afford. I don't have any belief beyond what I can see with my eyes open. I know this relationship is not optimal. I know it's not blissful. But when I look with my eyes open, everybody else is saying there's no prospects. If you're in a relationship, stay in it. The dating pool is dirty. Like, don't get back out in these streets. And because I'm listening to what everybody else is saying, I'm choosing to stay in a relationship that's not blissful because I'm making decisions based on what I see with my eyes open, even though God told me that this relationship has been expired. The letting your reality become your reality is the root cause of most of our disobedience. And here's the second cause of most of our disobedience: the absence of faith. Instead of making a faith play when I stood in that TSA line, I made a safe play. Some of us are so pressed about feeling safe that we let faith go by the wayside. Anytime you are operating in faith, you probably won't feel as safe as you're used to feeling. And that is okay. And in that moment last weekend, I decided I wanted to feel safe as opposed to relinquishing control to faith. If I had to let my faith lead, if I had to let the divine voice inside of me lead, I would not have changed that flight. Something kept telling me, even when I didn't get to the airport at 1 o'clock like I wanted to, there was this overwhelming sense of calm that it will be okay. I didn't have this anxious feeling of panic, like, Lord, they saying the lines are off the hook. I got to hurry up and get there. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have any of the indicators that I should be rushing. But when I got in line, I decided to let my faith go and I wanted to stay safe. How many of you guys are choosing safe instead of faith? And when you choose safe over faith, things like this happen. The cost of disobedience is so high. Still to this moment, I don't have a driver's license yet. Okay, I had to figure out, because I've never been here before, what steps does one take when they don't have their driver's license? And you want to know why? Because remember that claim form I told you I filled out for TSA Lost and Found? They emailed me back 2-3 days later and was like, unfortunately, Mrs. Smith, we cannot locate your license. Good luck. So now I have to reach out to the Michigan Department of Secretary of State and try and get a replacement driver's license. I'm just floating through life right now, driving on a prayer. And you want to hear another part of the story that scared the heck out of me? Let's go back to the story for a minute. I'm going to skip a whole bunch of stuff that happened in between while I was in Tennessee. But let me tell you this small part. As I was leaving Tennessee, now remember I told you I got an hour drive to the airport. So on Sunday, once again, my flight was leaving at 5 a.m., which means I had to be to the airport pretty early, but not as early as I did when I was flying out of a busy airport like Houston. This is the TSY airport or TYS. I never remember their airport code. And it's smaller, and I wasn't worried about TSA at all. But there's an hour drive to the airport. My flight was at 5 a.m., which means I was leaving my hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning. Guess what happened? That ain't happened in like forever as I was leaving the airport. I got pulled over by the cops. What happens when you get pulled over by the cops? What they want to see? Your driver's license, please. Huh? If I could take last weekend out back and shoot it and forget it never existed, I would. Where's the man in black when you need them? Look into this light so you can't remember none of this. I got pulled over by the police driving in the backwoods of Tennessee on my way back to the airport. Did I mention it was 2 o'clock in the morning? And you know them cops didn't look like me. So I was like, here's a little black girl getting pulled over. All the streets is desolate. Whatever they do to me, ain't nobody gonna see it. And I ain't got no driver's license. So they could have choose to not let me drive out of there without a driver's license. I told that man, I rolled that down that window. He said, you know why I pulled you over? I said, absolutely not. Once he told me my headlights went on, because I was in this rental and I didn't realize my headlights went on. He said, let me see your driver's license. I said, I ain't got it. Here's what happened. I was in TSA on Friday. Have you heard about Houston? It's been an uproar. They short on TSA agents. Well, what happened was we was rushing through the line. There was a whole bunch of us, hundreds of us, if not thousands. And they accidentally kept my license. And so that brings us here to where we are today, 2 o'clock in the morning in Knoxville, as I'm trying to get to the airport to make a 5 a.m. flight. I ain't got no driver's license. Now, you asking for one, but I ain't got one. So what are we going to do about it, officer? I said, I got a global entry card. Do y'all take that here? Child, let me tell you about the cost of disobedience. If y'all missing it, I hope y'all not just here for a good story, okay? I hope y'all not just here for a good story. I got pulled over by the police. No driver's license. I said, my driver's license is I know where it is just as much as you know where it is, sir. I said, now look, I know I ain't had no headlights on. Listen, I know it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I know I'm a little black girl out here all alone. Did I mention it was 2 cars on me? So the lights is flashing, it's blue and red flashing in the middle of the night. Not a single soul on the street. Because see, this is like a vacation town. So in the middle of the night is empty. It's empty because all the shops, all the restaurants, everything closed. It's 2 o'clock. Pitch black outside. I'm tired, needing to drive here. That man said, let me see your driver's license. I said, I hate it here. I hate all of this. Ciao. I said, sir, do you take a global entry? Y'all ever ask the cops if they take a global entry card? Raise your hand if you ever asked the cops if they take a global entry card. Just me? Oh, okay. He was like, just turn your headlights on. Be safe. I said, God bless you. God bless you. I didn't know if they was about to have your girl out there like, watch your head. She ain't got no driver's license. Mind you, because I'm like, if he arrests me or whatever they about to do when you ain't got no driver's license, honey, I'm about to miss this 5 a.m. flight. So now my mind is on 10 steps ahead of what's about to happen. So he let me go. Anyway, the point is, the cost of disobedience is so high. God made me pay the whole weekend for changing that flight. He made me pay the whole entire weekend. He snatched my license from me. Let me tell you something, the cost of disobedience. So number one, don't let your reality become your reality. Be very careful We're making safe decisions instead of faith decisions. When God talks to you, listen, it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing around you. Listen, stop being so pressed about feeling safe that you abandon faith. Stop being so pressed about feeling safe that you abandon faith. And faith is a muscle. And so, in order for a muscle to grow stronger, you have to give it something to lift, which means I should have let God lift that TSA line. Instead, I tried to lift it. I should have let God deal with that. But instead, I'm in the line like, no, I'm going to lift this line right on up, change my flight, 9:50 a.m., safe. What I should have did is been obedient and stood in that line and made it to the gate just like I did with my second flight still intact and no worries. So instead, I didn't get to my airport at the retreat, my hotel at the retreat until after 5 p.m. Okay? I need y'all to catch the lesson. Don't let your reality become your reality. Okay? And be very careful with trading in faith for safe. In your life right now, is there a decision that you have not made? Is there something you're not pulling the trigger on because you prefer to feel safe instead of making a faith-based decision, right? Is it an investment in yourself? Is it leaving a relationship? Is it stepping down from a role that's overwhelming you? Is it having a conversation with someone to tell them how you feel? Is it asking for your worth at work? What is it that you are not doing? Is it speaking up in rooms you were called into? Is it raising your hand to ask a question in a room full of other people where you prefer to play the background and be invisible? What type of safe decisions are you currently making that's preventing your growth? What type of safe decisions are you currently making that's costing you? This disobedience, this act of disobedience cost me so much. It cost me time. It cost me energy. It's costing me money having to replace a driver's license, right? And so I want you guys to be very careful with making safe decisions instead of faith-based decisions. Let me give you a few more of my lighter takeaways, and then we can get into some Q&A. I know this was a long story, but I feel like it was worth it. Here's some light takeaways that I learned while TWD, traveling while disobedient. Here's some light lessons that I learned while TWD, traveling while disobedient. Y'all ready? Here's some fun lessons for you guys to take with you. Okay? First lesson I learned. Even if it looks like you won't make your flight, never, ever, 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 ever rebook before you get to the gate. Confirm that the doors are closed and you cannot get on the flight before you rebook. Okay? Especially if you have a layover. That's the first lesson I learned, because even if you make that first flight, you done already changed it and now you're behind for your second flight. So you just gonna get to the next destination on time and be waiting hours for your next flight. Never rebook until you confirm you've missed that first flight. Second lesson I learned while TWD, traveling while disobedient. If you don't get your ID back from the TSA agent lost and found at IAH, the lost and found is off-site. It's not at the airport. You got to file a claim online, and they're going to wait maybe 5 to 7 business days to get back to you, and they may or may not find your stuff. Long story short, always make sure you get your ID back from TSA. Third lesson I learned while TWD, traveling while disobedient. Speaking of getting your ID back, if you have a global entry card, always keep it in your wallet as a second form of ID. It could work for you. You never know, especially if you don't have your passport or something on you. So definitely global check. Oh God, we ended on Instagram, y'all. Your global entry card can work for you. Next lesson I learned while traveling while disobedient. Not all Avis rental counters have secure lots, which means for some of them, you have to actually talk to somebody before they allow you to get the keys. And you absolutely need ID, and a copy on your phone just will not do. Next lesson I learned while traveling, while disobedient, is the new iPhone has a spam folder. Who knew? So if you're waiting on a text message, sometimes, depending on who's it coming from, that text message might go to spam and you didn't even know. So always make sure you check your spam folder for text messages on the new iPhone. And the final lesson I learned while traveling, while disobedient, is that the Hello brand deodorant doesn't work as well as their Hello brand toothpaste. It expired before I did. And that concludes story time. I hope you guys learned lessons from my life. You know, the other thing I learned is that I thought I was nailing it in life because of my obedience. But this also taught me that my brand of disobedience is usually on small things, like changing a flight or what I'm going to eat. Like my radical obedience, I've mastered it when it comes to big things, right? Like huge things, I've mastered it. But when it comes to tiny things, smaller things that maybe aren't as consequential, like radical obedience when it comes to career, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to my health, when it comes to conflict in a relationship and speaking up, when it comes to advocating for myself or other people, my obedience is solid, like 10 out of 10, okay? But my disobedience these days comes in smaller things, like changing a flight at the last minute when something inside of me told me not to, right? And so for you guys, your disobedience might be in the large stuff or it might be in the small stuff. But the point is that it cost us all the same. It cost us all the same. And so it's very important to know that it's kind of like sin. Like no brand of disobedience is worse than another. Like me changing my flight is just as disobedient and just as costly as you not investing in yourself, you not launching a business, you not leaving that relationship, right? Both acts of disobedience are consequential and costly. And we have to be very careful with thinking, you know, because something is easier for us than it is for somebody else that we're nailing it. We always have to be in a space of self-assessment, right? And so I was like, wow, Lise, you know, and I think God gave me an extra dose of punishment because like me getting pulled over by that cop was like the cherry on top. I'm like, all right, God, I got it. Because I feel like God was saying, oh, you're writing a book about radical obedience. So let me get this straight. You have decided to be the poster child in the face of obedience, and you're going to be disobedient to me? Okay, let me show you what happens. And I just feel like God was putting a cherry on top because I decided to write a whole book about obedience. And then I changed my flight in an act of disobedience. And so I was just like, never, ever, ever again will I not listen to myself. I cannot let my reality become my reality. Like, Lisa, your obedience should be much more matured by now, right? And it should, whether it's something small or something bigger, the obedience needs to be there consistently. And so that was my recent lesson in disobedience. And your girl has learned the lesson the hard way. Okay. Hey, it's Coach Lisa. If you've been feeling overwhelmed or stretched thin or like you know what to do, but you just haven't had the capacity to get it done, this is for you. We recently released our newest coaching program, and it's called the Gold Handle Club. And this is the Imperfect Founders Edition. It's designed to help you eliminate chronic stress one intentional moment at a time. And it's designed, most importantly, to feel easy as opposed to a high pressure program. This isn't another course that you have to keep up with. It's a simple daily ritual paired with real coaching and community support designed to fit into your life and not overwhelm it. Here's how it works. The Gold Handle arrives at your door, and every morning for about 5 to 10 minutes, you sit still in silence. You scan the QR code, and every single day, new content unlocks a daily practice built around our signature HER method for eliminating chronic stress, not managing it, but eliminating it. And because this is our Imperfect Founders Edition, we're doing something super special. You're getting your Gold Handle on us. All you'll cover is shipping. Plus, your first 30 days inside of the club and community are completely complimentary so that you can actually feel the difference before making any commitment. So If you're ready to stop pushing off those major decisions that need to be made, those uncomfortable conversations that need to be had, those mindset shifts and that healing that needs to happen now, this is your opportunity to get coached through that without feeling like there's another big appointment on your calendar. This is designed to fit into your quiet time to yourself every morning. So click the link in the show notes, join us inside of the Go Handle Club, take advantage of the Imperfect Founders special offer, and I cannot wait to coach you to optimal health and radical obedience. Now back to the show. Let's hear your takeaways. What resonated for you during this story time today? Let my life be a lesson unto you, said Coach Lisa. Let my life be a lesson unto you. What was the takeaway? And or I'm totally here for some Q&A. We can do a few minutes of Q&A if you guys want. Ciao. And while we're doing that, for those of you, I'm so excited. We're going to talk more about this next week, but we just released my newest program on eliminating chronic stress and activating radical obedience. It's called the Go Handle Club, and it is officially open for enrollment. Now, this is our first physical product, the Go Handle Club, and the Go Handle Club is a daily ritual. And when you enroll, you receive your Go Handle in the mail, and it has a QR code on it that says scan for your daily moment of clarity. And when you scan for your daily moment of clarity, it goes to our app, our Clarity app. And every day you get micro doses of coaching from me, like 10 minutes or less, taking you through my new curriculum for how to eliminate chronic stress and activate radical obedience. And the Go Handle Club just went live, Our clients have already been ordering mugs. So we're shipping 100 mugs this week already. Wait till I show y'all the pictures. Like, it's stuff all over my office, mugs everywhere. But these Go Handles, y'all, houses our newest program, right? Called the Her Method. Her Method is the strategies that I've personally used over the last 10 to 15 years to eliminate chronic stress, to optimize my personal health, and to activate radical obedience. And so the Her Method is our new program. It's embedded inside of this QR code ritual. So those of you who are like, I'm already overwhelmed, child, I don't need another appointment. I don't need another portal with a whole bunch of modules, but I need help, right? And so this kind of marries those two together. And so the Go Handle Club is live. I'm super excited about it. If you want to learn more about it and what it is and see a short video from me explaining where I came from when I was overwhelmed and stressed to where I am now, you can click the link that's in the comments to learn more about the Go Handle Club. And we're going to talk more about it. I'm going to do a deep dive into the Go Handle Club next week, what the new program is all about, and why you guys should get a Go Handle in your house as soon as possible. If you are struggling with disobedience, if you're struggling with health challenges and overwhelm, and most importantly, if most of your decisions are made out of fear, if most of your decisions are made out of being safe, right? Then we invite you to the Go Handle Club, it's a daily ritual, which houses my newest program for eliminating chronic stress and activating radical obedience. And the book is following behind this soon. Okay, so let's get into some questions, some takeaways, and all the things. Rhonda says, takeaway today, obedience is required in all things, big and small. Don't get comfortable, stay obedient, assess all areas, don't take anything for granted. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Like, to the smallest things, you know how sometimes God is telling you, like, I probably shouldn't eat this, but you're like, I have a little bit. And then your stomach hurt, or then your head hurt, or then you're tired. Like, that tiny act of disobedience costs you something. And so we have to be, sometimes I think when I teach about radical obedience, you guys are thinking big. Like, do the hard thing, have the conversation, make the tough decision, speak up, have confidence, all of that. But it's in the small things. It's in the tiny things. Like, God told me to do that before I left the house and I didn't do it. And look at me now, right? It's in the tiny things too. Obedience is a 365-degree thing. It's not just on the big things. Let's see. Patrice says she has a question. What happened when you got back to Knoxville Airport, turning the car in and getting to your gate? Patrice, like, wrap the story up, ma'am. I need conclusion. Everything was fine from there, Patrice, because you don't need a license for all that. And, I could use my global entry card to get through security. So that was no problem. So I used my global entry card to get through Tennessee TSA and turned the car in, and all of that worked out. So it was all good. I was able to get back home and crash and just be like, what the heck happened? But I also told this story on stage at the retreat too, right? Because I was teaching them radical obedience and the tenets and the principles of radical obedience. So I was able to tell this story, and everybody was leaned in. It was like silence across the room because it had just happened that day. Remember, I was speaking that night. So I was like, y'all, let me tell you what happened to me today. So it was real juicy that day. And so everybody was leaned in. It was a good time. It was a good time. Kiavia, faith versus safe decisions. There's a difference. And sometimes the faith decision doesn't make you feel safe. And you're going to have to be okay with that if you want to move the needle. Like where I want to take this business, where I want to take this brand, where we're about to take the Go Handle Club, because it's going to require some faith decisions, some stuff where I'm like, okay, I'm about to put thousands of dollars into this and we got to hope it works out. Like I'm about to make this investment and we got to hope it works out. I might need to hire another staff member and we're going to have to hope this works out. Like there's some chances you got to take to get to that next level. And the more you want and the bigger and the farther you want to go, it's more faith required. So if you don't master faith on the level you are now, it's only going to become harder to make bigger decisions later. So master faith now, strengthen the faith muscle right now so that those bigger decisions become much easier. Because I did mine the opposite, where my big decisions are faith play all the time with no sweat. I'm like, all right, let's get it. We're going to launch our physical product. Let's get it. I'm going to quit my job, my 9 to 5, and do my own thing and hope it works. Let's get it. I'm going to leave a relationship where I was engaged to be married and hope that, I find my forever person. Let's get it. Like the big stuff I do. It's this little stuff that I didn't even know I was still hung up on. So mine, I mastered the big faith decisions and the little faith decision. I'm like, God, I lift this when I got it. But God, like, no, let me lift the light stuff too. The stuff that you think is light, let me lift that too. And so master wherever you are, master faith now. Because if you have big goals, big dreams, things that you want to see come to fruition, at some point you're going to be forced to master faith, or you're going to be forced to stay in a not that bad situation. So you get to choose. You either going to have to make faith decisions and make investments in yourself, or you're just going to have to be forced to stay in situations that are safe and are predictable and are familiar, but they're not going to get you to where you want to go. And so you're going to have to make that choice. Carmen said, join the Go Handle Club. That coming from somebody who ain't even received their Go Handle yet. Thank you. When I tell y'all, this program is so off the hook, like you guys are going to love it. Like, love it. If you love being coached by me, and if you're in that season where you really need some relief from stress, from overwhelm, from disobedience, then you need to invest in our new program. And again, it's delivered through daily doses of coaching, 10 minutes or less, via our QR code in a Go Handle. You can have your emotional support tee right here inside of your Go Handle. And so it's delivered through a full experience that's just meant to be part of your morning routine, right? So you take 10 to 15 minutes of stillness every day, get coached by me for a few minutes. If you want to come to our Go Handle gatherings every Thursday morning at 6 a.m., we meditate together. We talk about the daily moments of clarity from that week in the program, and then you out. It's 45 minutes. It's not overwhelming. It's not too much. This is the program you need to be in. You need to be in the Go Handle Club. If you have reached that point where you are not able to make faith decisions on your own, or your health is compromised and it's compromising everything else, you need to be in a Go Handle Club for sure. Sharon says, thank you so much for sharing this encounter with us, Coach Lisa Love. Be careful of trading in faith for safe. I struggle with looking at the reality, I'm sure you're saying, instead of listening to what God is showing me. Yes, 100%. Be very careful, y'all. It is dangerous out here in these streets trying to lift everything on your own. I don't care how often you in the gym, you just ain't got the strength to lift it all. So stop trying to be so safe. Stop trying to have a plan B, C, and D. Stop only wanting to make moves once you know all the next steps. Like, I know a lot of y'all in my ecosystem are in a season of striving. You got some goals, you got some things that you want for yourself, whether it be a healthy, blissful relationship, a meaningful and purposeful career, optimal health, healing from some childhood disappointment. And a lot of that is going to require you to make faith decisions. It's going to require you to make decisions. A lot of us struggle with indecisiveness. A lot of us struggle with second guessing. A lot of us struggle with imposter syndrome and not believing in ourselves, not having the confidence to leave a not great situation. And we got to be careful because that's keeping us really stuck. And so I'm hoping my story blessed y'all today so that you make better decisions. And I'm hoping I see every single one of you guys in the Go Handle Club. Let me coach you every morning during, 8 to 10 minutes of stillness. Let me coach you and then come to Go Handle gatherings, for 45 minutes. And I think the thing I love the most about our Go Handle gatherings on Thursday morning that accompanies the Go Handle Club is the rawness of what people share. So what we do is we do the first 10 minutes of meditation. So it's mindfulness, it's stillness, right? And then we open the floor up and we have individuals share moments of clarity that they've had in the past week or so. Or we invite people to seek clarity on something that they're looking for answers for, right? And so they're either expressing a challenge they're having or they're expressing, a revelation they had. And I love the rawness of that. So this is I've never created a program like this before. All of my programs in the past, all of our coaching programs in the past have been very structured curriculum-based programs where it's like, here's the linear curriculum. And then you come to class, I'm going to do some more teaching. There's going to be slides. There's going to be homework. There's going to be lessons. And you about to get this very specific result that I've curated this curriculum to get. Well, the Go Handle Club with this program, the thing that is the same is that it is a linear curriculum, but everything else is different. It's done in bite-sized chunks, 8 to 10 minutes over the course of 365 days. And it's delivered via a physical experience, right? We've never had a physical product that's tied into the program. And then the live community sessions are not sessions where, okay, come sit here. We're going to teach. We got slides. We got to ask you questions. We got quizzes. We got homework. The live sessions are delivered in such a welcoming way. As a matter of fact, during the Go Handle gatherings on Thursday mornings, most people got their camera off. And then that's okay. That's the vibe we want where it doesn't feel like pressure. It feels easy, but you're still being coached, right? And so the Go Handle Club is easy. It's our new program dedicated to the elimination of chronic stress, optimizing your health, and helping you activate radical obedience. But it's not your typical coaching program that's on the marketplace, right? It's delivered through a fun experience. And so I'm hoping those of you who are struggling will consider getting coached in this way. And it's the least expensive program we've ever released, right? So most of our coaching programs are usually $2,000 and up. And so this one is below $1,000, which is also new for me. Y'all pray for me, okay? Because I know the value that I put into the curriculum. And so sometimes, and I'm going to tell you why I said pray for me. It has nothing to do with the money. It has to do with believing people will stick around to get the result. Part of the reason our prices are what they are is because when people pay, they pay attention. If somebody pays $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a program, they're more likely to show up and get the value that you put into it. When somebody pays less than $1,000 for a program, the attrition rate is typically higher. And that is a problem for me as a mission-driven entrepreneur. So I'm not driven by revenue. I'm driven by mission. And so it does me no good if somebody invests in a program and doesn't finish it. So my issue with having lower prices is not the amount of money we're going to make. It's the amount of transformations we might be compromising. And I need you guys to hear that clearly from your coach and from the creator of the program. This new program, the Go Handle Club, there's a monthly rate that's below $100, and the annual rate is below $1,000. And it's a 365-day curriculum that's embedded in a QR code and a physical product. This is crazy to me because, number one, the cost of producing this program is higher because there's a physical product. When you guys receive your Go Handles in the mail, you will see everything that went into delivering this physical product to you. So our cost for producing this and bring it to the marketplace is higher. And we're charging lower than what we've ever charged for any other coaching program. Conceptually, I'm spinning. I'm like, eek, right? Because our costs are higher, your costs are lower. But for me, it's about the transformations. It will break my heart if I have to force you guys to finish what you start by raising the price. Because when people pay, they pay attention. If 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months from now, I'm not seeing people get to the end of the program, I'm going to have to raise the price. That's one of the things you do to increase completion rates. And I want you guys to think about, let's think about something everybody's heard of, Planet Fitness. How many of y'all got a Planet Fitness membership and you don't really use it? It's probably because it's not costing you enough to have it. You're paying $10, you're paying $20 a month, and you're not using it, but you're keeping it because in hopes that maybe one day you aspire to exercise. I cannot wake up every day and feel good with clients who aspire to transform. I need to be able to log in and see you guys doing the work. I need to be able to come to Go Handle gatherings every Thursday morning and see you guys there sharing your breakthroughs, expressing the recent QR code scan and lesson that you listened to and telling me how it impacted you and what you're going to do differently. Because at the end of this first year of the Go Handle Club, because it's a 365-day curriculum, if I don't have enough people saying we have reduced or eliminated their stress, I got to make a different choice from a business decision. I don't need to scrap the pro. I know what's in the program. The issue is that people are not getting there because they're not finishing, because they're not paying enough. They're abandoning it because the investment is not high enough. And so I hope I don't have to do that. So just know, those of you who enroll now in the Go Handle Club and get this new program, you are getting the lowest rate it'll ever be. You're getting a founder's rate, you're getting an initial rate, and it's only going to go up from here. But I hope you guys finish it. By you guys doing the work that you're paying for, it'll help make it more accessible to everybody else coming behind you. The moment I see high attrition and transformations not happening, because I'm a mission-driven founder, I'm not a money-driven founder. The moment I am not seeing transformations, that's when my battery drops low. Like, the thing that drives me is coming here every week, facilitating our programs and seeing and hearing you guys' results and transformations. The moment my battery is not being charged by that is the moment I have to make a different decision as a CEO. My battery is not charged by sales. My battery is charged by transformations. So if my battery is not being charged, then we got to make a decision to get my battery charging again. And for a lot of you guys, that means higher prices, because you guys show up to Farm to Table because you pay thousands of dollars to be there. Do you see what I'm saying? If I charge $300 to Farm to Table and I tell you guys, now you about to come in here and stop eating salt, stop eating oil, stop eating sugar, stop eating meat, stop eating seafood, stop eating eggs, stop eating dairy. Y'all like, I will easily lose $300 to keep my boiled eggs and my sugar. But you might think twice about it if you got to pay $3,000. Like, okay, let me go ahead and give this stuff up and see what it might possibly do for my body and my brain. But one of the biggest lessons I've learned over the years when it comes to money as an entrepreneur is that we think that people value their money. We think that's one of the things people value the most. But when you compare it to what they're exchanging the money for, like, let me get this straight. I'm giving you $2,000 to stop eating my favorite cookie and potato chip. People are willing to lose money to retain their bad habits. So I have learned as a health coach, like, my business doesn't work like other businesses. Like, we're not paying to take relief from people, like to do their hair or to give them a bag or give them a concert. We're having people pay us to take things away from them that they love. People will lose money for that. And so I'm like, oh, my prices can't be set like everybody else. We have to make people feel the pain of this. And so I need you guys to understand that your performance in this first year at the Go Handle Club in this program with these rates that are lower than I would prefer is going to determine the accessibility of this program for people coming behind you, right? And so if you are just signing up for the Go Handle Club because you want to go handle, but you're not interested in actually doing the work every morning and engaging in the ritual, don't do me no favors. Just don't come into the program. Just don't come into the Go Handle Club. Don't do me any favors. This is for people who have been battling chronic stress, for whom stress has been compromising their health, compromising their life satisfaction, compromising their quality of life, compromising their relationships. If that is you, then the Go Handle Club is for you. If you enjoy the way I coach, the way I teach, the way I speak, then this is for you. If you enjoy being led by a mission-driven founder, then this is for you. But don't do it because it's accessible. Do it because you're ready to do the work. Otherwise, you're going to skew my results. I don't like skewed results. And when you skew my results, you're going to have me make a CEO level decision that's going to impact everybody coming behind you because you just had FOMO. You just want to be nosy, but you had never had intentions on seeing this thing through and getting relief from your disobedience. And if you're not interested in getting relief from your disobedience, then don't join the Go Handle Club. But if you are, join the Go Handle Club. And that is, I didn't even mean to go into a spiel, but I needed you guys to understand, like, there's a marriage here between transforming lives and running a business efficiently. And both are important, right? Both are important. Too many Black-owned businesses, too many minority-owned businesses go out of business because what they sell isn't good is because of a lack of business acumen. I have to make business decisions, but the transformation of the client, of you guys, comes first. And so if I don't see that happening in the way that I intended when I built the program, then something different has to happen. Okay? I gotta go. I gotta finish packing up boxes and get y'all Go Handles to the post office. I hope this blessed y'all today. Let's do some Q&A for real next week. And then we're going to talk deeper and dive deeper into the Go Handle Club and what you can expect behind this new curriculum that's designed to eliminate stress and everything. I've been working on it for quite some time. So Deborah said, keep it real and make it plain. Honey, that's my specialty. Listen, if I had a restaurant, that would be the only thing on the menu. You got one or two choices. I'm either keep it real or make it plain. What will you be having today? Let me get one order, keep it real, and two sides and make it plain. Baby, that will be the only thing on my menu, Deborah. Do you hear me? Shoot, I ain't even capable of nothing else. Keep it unreal and make it confusing. Can't do it. I ain't even got the recipe for it, okay? Okay, let me stop being silly. I will see you guys back here next Monday. Love y'all. Bye, guys. You tuned in today because, like me, you refuse to let your good become the enemy of your great. You're not settling for good health when optimal is well within reach. If you're ready to go from good to great, visit lisaangelsmith.com to learn more about our plant-based health coaching program, Farm to Table, and our plant-based business accelerator and coaching certification. But before you go, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast. Until next time, remember, radical obedience is still undefeated. Stay obedient.